Hi, this is Mark Stewart again. Welcome to the next in the series of videos about the long-term effects of bullying and how to find healing and hope. This is again part of the promotion for my upcoming book, Names Will Hurt Me, Healing for Victims of Bullying. I want to talk to you about a day in my life that illustrates some of what it's like to go through the bullying, but also the questions that plague when you leave it behind. I want to talk to you about the day I graduated high school. Almost 10 years of bullying was finally coming to an end. I had made up my mind I was going to get as far away from that place and from those bullies as I possibly could. Away from that small town where everybody knew me and I couldn't get away from the bullies because everybody knew each other. I had so many mixed emotions. First of all, I was fearful because part of me was afraid that the bullies knew that I'm going to be there and they're going to try one last time to really, truly humiliate me, not just in front of the other students, but in front of all the parents and the entire community. I just expected something to happen. Knowing that there were going to be parents there, they knew that they couldn't really get away with anything, or at least somebody must have figured that out because nothing happened that day. Yeah, they called me sewage when nobody else was around, but they didn't do anything severe because they knew they couldn't get away with it. I was also relieved. I was finally going to get beyond this place. I had a chance to get out. Did not have to go back to that place again. Because, see, for the last few years of high school, it got to the point that as the bus would pull up to the high school, I would physically have to fight to not throw up. I would get sick to my stomach. As I was walking into that school, the knot in my stomach would get harder. I would duck down. I wouldn't talk to anyone. I just got my head down and I walked as fast as I could, and I didn't talk to anybody. I tried to hide between classes because if I actually lifted my head up and I made eye contact, that was an invitation for them to inflict more abuse. Yeah, they still did it even when I walked with my head down, but it seemed like the less attention I brought to myself, the better. So I became very good at being almost invisible. I was so relieved because I knew I didn't have to face that anymore. I'm now going to be free. But I was also anxious. What about my future? The low self-esteem, that message that I was worthless, that nobody could ever love me or like me as a friend, had been so deeply ingrained in me that I was wondering how I could ever have a future. And all I could feel was anxiety when I thought about the future. But I was mostly, more than anything else, haunted by one question: now what? When you have spent so much time just surviving, it is daunting to think about, now what am I going to do with my future? Where most of them had spent their senior year talking about, well, I want to go to this college or that college, or I want to be with this person, or I want to date this person, or whatever it is that they wanted. I couldn't do any of that because I was just surviving. And now, all of a sudden, I'm supposed to forget all the abuse and move on with my life. It doesn't work that way. The damage was done. And where most people had spent some time trying to figure out who they were, I hadn't had that opportunity. I didn't know who I was. I just knew I survived. I made it to here, and that relief and the anxiety and the anxiousness all were going on at the same time. And I had to smile to my parents because I'd hid so much from them and act like nothing was wrong. When inside I wanted to say, screw this. I'm not going to graduation. I don't have to walk down that line. Just give me my damn diploma. That's what I felt like. Just give me my diploma and let me get on with my life. But I couldn't do that. My family all wanted me to go, and they wanted me to walk through the line. It's expected you're going to walk through the line. But all this is churning inside. And I'm trying to smile, and I'm trying to act like everything's okay. But all I want to do is cry, run out that door, and go home. I don't want to feel these feelings. I don't want to keep going on like everything's okay when it's not. And I really don't want to face that question. Now what? I didn't want to face the questions of, who am I? I didn't know. What do I really want to do with my life? I don't know. I have no idea. I've spent so much time just trying to survive. I don't know. It was enough to make me want to just find a corner and cower in a corner and try to disappear again. If you were bullied, you probably remember feeling this way or something similar. You probably remember the mixed emotions that came with getting out and knowing that you were going to get away from it. And society expects that, oh, bullying was just part of growing up. Now you can move on with your life. And like nothing ever happened. It doesn't work that way. Bullying is real trauma. It is real pain. It does real damage to your psyche. It damages your self-esteem. It makes you question who you are. It causes anxiety, depression, all these things I talked about in the first video. It's not just part of growing up. You were victimized often for being nothing except who you were and something possibly different. In my case, I was very small. I only weighed about 107, 108 pounds when I graduated from high school. And at 5'8", I was really, really skinny. I was the smallest kid in my class, except for a few of the girls. Not only was I physically small, I'm somewhat artistic. I've always had some artistic abilities, but I tried to avoid them. Now I make my living mostly doing photography, websites, graphic design. But that made me a little different. I was also a little more sensitive than a lot of boys. I actually had a lot of empathy, and I emotionally can connect with people. And that doesn't go over well, especially not in a small town where it's a bunch of farm kids. They don't seem to appreciate those qualities. But those qualities are now what allow me to teach and connect with people and to have the life I've got. So the very things that they didn't like are the things that make my life fulfilling now. I don't know where you're at. I don't know if you are a young adult who's just left the bullying behind. And now you're facing this question, now what? Who am I? What do I want to do with my life? Where do I want to be? I don't know if that's you. Or maybe you graduated years or even decades ago. And you still haven't figured out now what? That you're still dealing with the pain, the anger, the depression, the anxiety. No matter which position you're in, I'm telling you that you don't have to stay there. Now, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time. And it's going to take some effort on your part. But you can move beyond all this. You can have healing. You can have a life worth living. You can have happiness. You have to make a choice. You have to learn some techniques. And you are going to have to work at it. But I'm telling you right now, as someone who's living proof, it is possible for you to move beyond that pain. For you to not feel like this, with all these turmoil, all these mixed emotions every day. Thank you for taking the time to listen again to this video. I hope you listen to the entire series, because together they're going to show you a picture of what bullying does to an adult, of the lingering effects. And it's also going to show you a roadmap to help you begin to point yourself in the direction where you want to go. First of all, find out where it is you want to go. What destination do you want to arrive at to help you get there? to help you get tools to get to that destination instead of being stuck where you're at. Thank you again for watching these videos.